Okay, so formally welcome everybody. My name is Mac Khan. I'm the board member and the coordinator for the series TESOL Narratives. And it is my honor to introduce the guest speaker for today, Professor Kirti Kapur. Professor Kirti Kapur will be presenting her work on navigating multicultural classrooms for social justice and equity. Briefly about her, Professor Kapur's area of specialization is curriculum, syllabus, textbook development, evaluation, training, and research. And some of her outstanding projects have been developing creative writing and translation series for higher secondary schools in India. And she has also developed English pedagogy course. And then she's been giving teacher training pan-India, across India. And she was a coordinator for a national seminar on inclusive education. What stood out for me was she was also engaged in one of the very prominent national symposia, and the title was Samaj Ka Madhyam. Samaj in Hindi is a society, and Madhyam is the center of society. So she was the point person in leading this symposia, which was a national symposia, and then on language and education. Dr. Kirti also represented India in a number of international forums, Tibetan Association 2012 to 2016, Higher Education Advisory, University of Cambridge, and Mauritius. So these are some of the countries that she has been presenting the work. And if you talk about her educational background, Dr. Kapur has a PhD and an MPhil, PhD in literature and MPhil in Black Studies. And as an MA in English literature, she's a gold medalist in BA, and she is an alumna of Summer Institute for Language Education, US. So on behalf of Penn TESOL East, we welcome her, and in the beginning, we want to say that we are truly honored to have you with us today. Over to you, Kirti.
Thank you, Mac, for this generous introduction. And I'm humbled by this. Shall I start with my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. I will share screen and I will start with the presentation. I hope you can see the slides now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So as Mac has already introduced the topic, navigating multicultural classrooms for social justice and equity. Actually, I don't want any pictures. Okay. So, and I have done a lot of work in this area. I have done research on multiculturalism in classrooms when I was in Hawaii, a 9-month project I did. So let me start with this. So during the course of my presentation, I will be talking about multiculturalism, co-creation, narrative inquiry, transformative pedagogy, classroom processes, social justice, and equity. Yes. And why can't we begin the session with an activity? So can we break into breakout rooms, Mac? Multiculturalism is when we have to find out which one does not fit into the idea, which is not multicultural, and why.
So, Kirti, do you want us to take an image of the slides and go into the breakout?
Yes, of course. All of you can take a picture of this slide, because you have to, look at each prompt and then talk about it. And finally, when we come together, we will discuss.
Please accept the rooms. Kirti, you can also join any of the rooms just to see.
Because I am not seeing anything so that I can join. There is no indication.
So I made you the co-host. Probably because your PowerPoint. Kirti, you should join the room. You should accept. Okay, I'm sending you again.
Please do.
Now you accept it.
Yes, join.
Hi.
Hi, Alexis.
Well, we didn't have that much time to speak, and it was two of the members didn't even have a chance to really get into it with the audio.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was too short.
Yeah, it was a little bit, well, I know there's so many interesting topics to cover. So I made a guess as to what the first topic was. But what a wonderful group. So is everybody in the United States at this moment, or are we joined by?
No, primarily from three places, from Madagascar, from India, and US.
Ah, okay. Well,
Yeah,
how fabulous. How
Yes.
wonderful. This is so exciting.
Shall I go back to this?
Yeah.
Shall I share my screen again?
Yes, please.
Here. Mm. I'll stop share and redo it.
Ah, yeah, that's much better.
That's much better, no?
Yeah, that's much better. We can see the PowerPoint, and we can see the others, and that's great.
Okay, this is better. Okay, shall I continue with this?
Yes.
So create a mini heritage documentary. I think in my room, we all agreed on this, that if we have, documentary from every child, every student, I mean, it's a mini heritage that we have developed in the classroom. Every culture is there. Children are talking about it. And we celebrate student ethnic groups. That's a great way of celebrating multiculturalism. Take a virtual diversity classroom field trip. We cannot visit each other's country, each other's place, but virtually we can, go there. Students can take us there to their country, their homeland. And then when we host speakers from students' ethnic groups, they will tell about their culture. So everybody will become aware of it and encourage playful participation. Do you think this is multiculturalism? This one does not fit.
No,
Because
I don't think so either.
participation will happen in any case.
Right.
Right. Then celebrate holidays around the world. We celebrate Diwali, Christmas, Eid. We celebrate all these festivals. So in a way, we are trying to understand each other's culture and trying to learn about them. Therefore, develop that sense of respect for each other. And an international potluck. My God, food is a great way of bringing everybody together. So we move on to the next slide now. Now, why multiculturalism? You see, the world is moving very fast. People are changing places at a very fast pace. And as there is immigration. So we as, educationists, we need to embrace multiculturalism. Our classes cannot be monoculture classes. So therefore, we need to change our strategy. Even Diane Rabbit said that the successful multiculturalism builds the bonds of community that lead to interracial, interethnic friendships. And when we have all these things, then automatically that equity starts taking place in the classroom. We do not, look down upon on anyone. And there is social justice for everybody. And people have migrated from countries where there were disturbances. Last year, a lot of migration from Afghanistan to US, to other countries as well. But it's happening. It's a constant thing. So therefore, we need to understand their culture. We need to create space for them. Now, once again, I have another, activity for the participants. There are a few points we need to ponder over. Mac, can we have breakout rooms? Once again?
Absolutely. Which points do, okay.
There are 3 points. Take a picture. Please click or take a photo so that you can discuss the questions.
Okay, I'm gonna open all the rooms again.
Sure.
Responsible.
Hello, sir.
Yes. We are putting you in different rooms.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Manu.
Yes, I'm putting you in a
Hello.
room.
Sorry, I'm a bit noisy. Okay. First, so the first question is, how
Please
to
accept,
engage.
we're putting you in a breakout room. You should accept it and go to the breakout room.
There is, okay.
Some of you have not joined the room. You should accept the room. Faniva,
So, am I going to discuss with you or you're still working on the rooms?
I am sending you to a room. You should accept the room. Okay?
Yeah, but I haven't received the invitation.
I'm sending you again. Please
Okay.
accept it. Lahatra, I'm sending you to another room. Please accept it.
Okay.
Lahatra, you got to accept the room. Judisha. Hello, Judisha. Judika. What happened, Tatiana? Tatiana, I'm sending you to a room, accept the room. Fabi. Bill, I'm so delighted to see that you are talking to my students. Wow. This is so great.
Yeah,
They are great.
Wow.
lovely,
What an
lovely.
experience they're getting. What an experience my students. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think it's fabulous. I wish we all had more time. We barely get into it, and some people are having difficulty with the technology.
Oh,
Getting
huge
the visual.
Alexis, and connections also, very poor connections.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old days when I was teaching on Zoom. My students are around the world. It was,
Yeah.
Welcome back. So, how was the discussion?
It was good, ma'am. We discussed all the points put here.
So, shall we go back? Shall I go back to the presentation?
yes, please do.
Kirti, I feel that some of the participants, they want to share what they discuss in the breakout room.
Please do. Please do.
I can see, yeah.
Raise your hand and then you share your views. That will be lovely.
I think Joanna has a good story.
Oh, just we're talking about multicultural framework and and I just gave a quick example. This semester, one of my students who's Vietnamese brought in cupcakes to celebrate Thanksgiving, but most of my students are Muslim. So they could not eat the cupcakes. Why is that? Because she put pork on the top of all the cupcakes.
Oh,
And
wow.
because this was a special recipe that we found. So I wanted to make sure none of my students ate the cupcakes without knowing there's pork. So I let everybody know, but I wanted to make sure that she felt validated because this is part of, like, she was digging into the class. And the other students, I have to make sure all the cultures are validated. Everybody feels good. So anyway, I'll never forget that, but it was tricky. But that was my,
No, so I believe it was a great learning
oh, I learned, I think everybody learned, and I learned
Yeah.
it too.
about somebody's food restrictions and all of that, so that we can respect that next time when we make something.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Would you like to share your views with the group?
I just wanted to say that I'm really excited about this idea of the documentary. You really put that idea in my head. And I think I might be opening with that with my very low level ESL class. I'm teaching our baseline level. And so I think they're going to have a lot of fun with that and get to know each other's cultures a little bit, because I'm going to have, I think, 3 different cultures with 5 students. So thank you so much for.
Okay, so that's a great takeaway for you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Me too.
So shall I go back to my presentation? Okay. I'm wondering why it is not coming full screen. Can something be done about it? Or is it okay with you people?
It's fine, Kirti, as far as, may I just request all students to mute themselves while the presenter is speaking? There's background noise.
You can also mute them, Mac.
Yeah, I can, but in that case, let me see.
So you can mute them one.
And now we'll have to ask Dr. Kapur to unmute herself because everyone is muted.
Unmute. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to the next point. So we have discussed a few things among ourselves, and I think that was a great learning experience for us. So next I talk about culture. So what do we understand by culture? Culture comprises certain characteristics, and it can be language, religion, cuisines, stereotypes, biases, social habits, music, art. You can add to the list. The list can be, the list is not, you can say, it is just an example. You may add to the list. Because at the same time, when we talk about cultures, we have some biases also about certain cultures. So when we talk to people, when we actually come to know about them, those biases can be removed, right? Now, social habits, food, as the example was given by one of the listeners that, they didn't know about the food. Now that we know, we'll be careful next time. So these things comprise culture. Now, we have to become culturally responsible. That is what it tells us. So education, as we all know, is shaped by socio-cultural attitudes of learners and teachers. We also bring our stereotypes and biases into the classroom. And students already have these things, but we need to have a dialogue to remove these or develop an understanding. Now, classrooms are spaces where you can have conversations, you can have meaningful ideas, you can navigate ideas to bring in social justice and equity. Now, equity means everyone is given the opportunity to speak, and everyone's idea is there for discussion on the table. Therefore, some amount of social justice is there. It's not that only the teacher's voice is being heard. So our classrooms are now diverse. We all know that. Of course, in India, naturally we have diverse classrooms. It's not that immigration or people have come from other countries. That is rare. But in the US, people are from different countries. So our classrooms are naturally diverse. We need to look into the needs of diverse students. We have to create space for every child. So that, their socio-cultural backgrounds have to be kept in mind. And whenever we take up any lesson, examples can come from them. Once the examples start coming from students, our classrooms are going to become enriching classrooms. So we need to enable students to understand diversity, eliminate racism, issues based on ethnicity, and diverse groups for a better future. We are looking for a better future, and this is the role of education. Now, how do we do it? We have to engage students. Okay, so classroom experiences play an important role. So we have to focus on experiential and contextual learning. Experiential learning. Learners' experiences have to come into the classroom. They have to give their viewpoints into the classroom. Their context will enrich the classroom. Of course, their cultural and linguistic heritage has to become part of the classroom dialogue. And real world contexts, as we all say, that, have to become part of the learning process. So activities and curriculums have to be enriched by a variety of examples. Now, in a multicultural classroom, what's going to happen? You have to allow students to bring in their culture, their heritage, as forms of examples into the classroom, because that will enrich the curriculum. So that's a multicultural classroom. So we can always say multicultural classroom is a rich classroom. A rich classroom where there are a lot of examples. As a teacher, I might give 1 or 2 examples, but if every student has brought something to the classroom, then we have lot of examples in the classroom. And that's what we want. That will help us understand them. So this will further develop intercultural communicative competence among the students. It's an important skill. We should be able to communicate with everybody effectively. We should not have any biases or stereotypes in our mind. We should, this is a global skill now, intercultural communicative competence, and multiculturalism, and becomes the part of the classroom process. It brings about that social justice and equity. And we all know a lot of work has been done in the area of multiculturalism and education, so that, we can diminish social prejudices and, and education among Black and white communities. Now, all these researches were conducted in the US, keeping the US as the basis. But, these type of researches can be conducted in any part of the world, because now we come across such scenario everywhere. And here I would like to share an example. When I was in Hawaii for my Fulbright fellowship, class 7-8 students were given a task that each one had to bring one recipe from their background, their culture. And of course, in that, there you have 7 to 10 children sitting from different backgrounds. Vietnam, you name that, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, then Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Japan. So there are from India, from mainland, children are there. They all brought their recipes, and it didn't end over there. Then the maths teacher also took part in it. Whatever recipe they had brought, the teacher gave them a proportion that you are going to cook a meal for 10 people. Now you have to write down the recipe. So a lot of mathematics. And then the science teacher, what is the health benefit of this recipe? What are the nutrients in this? So therefore, across the curriculum, learning was taking place, and only with the help of food, cuisines. And it was really interesting. Finally, they made a book out of it and put it online for us to see, for everyone to see. So multiculturalism and education is shaped by the attitude of learners and teachers. Both are responsible. So we have to listen to each other so that there is problem solving and critical thinking develops among the students. They critically think about the issues. Why such issues are there? Why we are not tolerant about each other, and how can we be tolerant about each other? Because education has to play this important role. While teaching language, we have to bring in such issues into the classroom. Because long back, I remember, now of course we are talking about these things. Long back, I remember we were talking about gender equality. Of course, we have been able to, address that issue to a great extent. But here in India, we are still struggling with it. But in other countries, there are other issues through language. And language classroom is a space where such issues can be taken up meaningfully, and learners can become aware how to handle it. So then co-creation. Now, co-creation is an important thing. So in this context, co-creation becomes a powerful and effective method. Okay, the conversation is taking place not only between the teacher and the student, but among learners as well. So it's a philosophical framework. So there was a question in points to ponder, that what kind of framework should we have? Our framework should have co-creation and narrative inquiry, right? So co-creation, when learners learn together and they understand each other better. So co-creation is also defined as collaboration. And of course, 21st century skills are collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creative thinking. So co-creation is nothing but all of these. So it will, enhance the relationship of the students and bring about that, belongingness and cohesion in the classroom. Now there is an important role that teachers need to play. Generally, we are curriculum implementers. We have to become curriculum makers. Of course, we know curriculum and the syllabus is designed at a particular level. But, we should not look at the curriculum as what is to be covered in the syllabus. How it is to be covered, how is the syllabus covered, that makes me curriculum maker. What has been given, but how I deal with it, that makes me a curriculum maker. So I think we need to take care of these things. The next is co-creation is psychosocial learning environment. So we are giving space to every child. A student who does not speak also has to speak. Motivation and metacognition. Now, metacognition is very important because sometimes students are thinking, but they are too shy or they run short of vocabulary, so they do not speak. But when they have to say something, they might begin in their own language and come to English. It can be translanguaging, but at least that metacognition takes place. They start speaking. Then quality of the educational design improves, and teachers have the free hand to deal with the syllabus, how to do, right? Then classroom processes also become meaningful. There is collaboration, there is communication. We are learning from each other. We are learning different vocabularies, different structures. Then, of course, creative narratives. So while expressing ourselves, the freedom should be given to the student. They can show their idea via any medium, poster, slideshow, poems, stories, skits, songs, lyrics, drawings, or paintings. I think we can express ourselves via any media. Once that expression is complete, then we can come to the syllabus or the skill development or the competency development, that now you have to write a paragraph or an essay on this topic. But the presentation will make them aware of the things around them. Then narrative inquiry. I mean, it's kind of quilt made out of pieces of personal and social stories. It's like a quilt. I mean, personal and social stories are woven together, and they make it, they make it meaningful. Now it is the task of the educationists to develop this attitude among the students. Now, narrative inquiry is similar to and also different from other qualitative methods. For example, reflective practice action research, self-study of teaching and teacher. So narrative inquiry is little different from all of this. Here, every child is taking part. Narrative inquiry shaped a language for talking about teaching and learning from the perspective of individuals. We are not coming to any consensus. There is polyvocality. There are different voices that need to be heard. So the processes will include that, you have to keep the historical, cultural background. You have to keep the social justice in mind, and assumption and beliefs and values have to be questioned. As a teacher, when I enter the classroom, even I have to question my biases and stereotypes. I should not go to the classroom with all of these. And we have to appreciate new perspectives and polyvocality. This is what I am highlighting. Every voice is heard in the classroom. And then we move on to transformative pedagogy. So that means we are creating space for everybody, critical pedagogy, liberatory pedagogy. This is the pedagogy of empowerment. Transformative pedagogy, as we know, creating space for all the learners. We are moving towards a social model of learning. It's no longer teacher-centric, as we all know. And our relationship with knowledge is also going to change. Whatever is given in one textbook is not sufficient. So we are getting knowledge from different sources. And who are these sources? Our students. Because they are bringing knowledge. They all have knowledge. Only thing is we don't create space for them. And then valuing each other's knowledge, empowering teaching and learning processes. You can have activities which are engaging, contextual, experiential. Okay, role of the teacher has changed. She's a facilitator, provide multiple opportunities. Then universal, I should add universal design of learning also. Focus on positives of the students, give meaningful feedback. You have to create engaging activities. And when you try to involve the students, your activities automatically become creative and innovative because it is not one person's show. So social justice and equity addresses gaps of social cultural engagement, creates interactive structures and discursive strategies, supports different opinions and worldviews with confidence and purpose. It's not simply saying it. Students start speaking with confidence and with a purpose. So they start sifting the ideas and then put them across. So let us think. Once again, breakout rooms. We have to think now. Can we have a breakout session? I've just given a...
Absolutely.
So take a picture of these two questions. What do I like about my country? We are all from different countries. And why? Share some of the practices that you have experienced. Okay? Examples of social justice and equity. Your examples now. These are the two questions we are discussing.
Please accept the rooms. I'm opening.
Sure. Yeah, we are going to join.
Lahatra, you need to join the conversation. You need to accept the invitation I'm sending you. Lahatra. Irna. Safidi, please join the conversation. Asha. Hey, Asha. Hello. Asha, you've not joined the room. Asha, you need to accept it. Rakatoma. Well, we have audience from India also this time. Dr. Meena, I've never met them, but yeah, the people from,
Wow,
yeah, it's so great.
that's amazing. The representation is great.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucy was really talking a lot, giving us some amazing
Really?
stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
She'll get 2 extra credit in my course then, Lucy, okay?
Oh, five.
Thank you.
Kirti, you unmute yourself. You're muted at this point.
Sure. So I'm going to now conclude my presentation. And after that, if you have any questions for discussion, you're most welcome. Okay, so social justice and equality seeks polyvocality and learners' participation. There are many activities you can take up. I mean, a few I have written here: write about a special moment, a personal narrative, a vision or a strategy for future, things like that you can design. Now, the way forward is that classrooms as spaces for questioning negative stereotypes and promoting dialogue. That is what our aim should be. And there should be engagement among the learners as well as with the teacher. So way forward also means that we need to develop curriculum in such a manner that there is space for co-creation and creative narratives. We have to create it for ELT for K to 12, and we have to identify best practices and implement them. So in my concluding remarks, I just want to say that multiculturalism can be studied from a mosaic of research studies. When compared and considered alongside, they may shed light on this, so that it's a continuous effort that we have to do. We can't say this research is done, it's over. No. So we are moving away from the idea of melting pot to salad bowl. After all, giving space to every voice in the classroom is the mandate of the teacher. So these are my concluding remarks. And thank you so much for paying attention. And with this, I have come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Wow, this is
Thank you.
amazing. What an outstanding presentation. Wow, I just want to conclude, I just want to share my takeaway
Okay.
in terms of a few phrases that will, and the powerful metaphor of quilt. Quilt, I love the metaphor of the quilt. I love the metaphor of the mosaic. But other than these two strong metaphors, your presentation was so rich that it's very difficult to provide an adequate summary of such a wonderful presentation. So I will just share a few phrases that stand out. For me, number one is, we are not implementer of curriculum, we are maker of curriculum. That's beautiful. Curriculum maker, not the implementer. So we're not on a job to cover the curriculum. We're there to create our own curriculum. That really stand out. And also the fact that entire presentation and the ways we are going to take forward is to make life better. And that is possible by accepting multiculturalism, enhancing intercultural competence. And intercultural competence can only be enhanced when we shun our prejudices and biases. So intercultural competence doesn't mean only linguistic competence. No, that's my takeaway. So you don't have to know the present tense and aspect and modality in English language to become more competent. No, they're higher than that. All prejudices should go away, and acceptance of our students as our gurus, as our teachers. Wow, this change, going into a classroom with the mindset of learning rather than filling, that's powerful. So I just want to thank all students who are joining us from Madagascar, US, India, and all the participants. You made it, all colleagues, TESOL board members, and Dr. Kapur. This was a wonderful experience. If anybody wants to say something, please feel free to share your thoughts, ideas. The floor is open. Bill, I see Bill's hand. Yes, Bill, go ahead.
So Dr. Kapur, I agree with Mac. It is really hard to provide an adequate summary of such a rich presentation. However, it is my job to do so. So I'd like to ask you if you would share your PowerPoint with me, because there was so much information and things moved so quickly that I really want to write the best summary and review that I possibly can, and that would really help me.
Okay, sure. It is with Mac. You
Okay.
can take from him. It's
Excellent.
available.
I'll write
Yeah.
after this presentation.
Is it okay for others of us to see it
Absolutely,
from
ma'am.
Mac? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
with everyone.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
So I'm going to share one with my American friends, with my Madagascar's friend, and with my Indian friends.
Because
So,
you've encapsulated everything. And so that's why it's so invaluable. I can use it as a checklist.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much for being so
Joanna-
generous.
Joanna
And
wants to say something. I see Joanna's hand. Joanna, please unmute yourself. Joanna, we can't hear you.
I muted myself before so there'd be no feedback. But I wanted to thank you very, very much for a wonderful presentation, Professor Kapur. I think your students must love you because, first of all, your thoughts are really interesting. The breakout sessions were a great part of your presentation. That really helped. But as far as the content, Yeah, I totally agree with you. We learn from each other. So to be partners with our students instead of being, the person, the guru, the person who knows everything, is a great, great way to teach. I love what you said about like the social order of learning and a social cultural attitude. So yeah, the students bring funds of knowledge and they contribute a lot to the classroom. So it's always good to think about that and to know about it. Yesterday was my last day of office hours at the Community College of Philadelphia. So I met with a student one-on-one, and it makes me think about your wonderful presentation because, yeah, I learned from her and she learns from me in a very interactive way. So we want to do that also with our classes. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joanna.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for sharing your
Bye.
comments. I see Mirini's hand. Yes, Mirini, go ahead.
Yes, yeah. Thank you very much, Kirti, for your wonderful presentation. It has raised a lot of ideas and questions in our minds. And one thing that I would like to share is in this area of multiculturalism, maybe we as teachers too can also contribute in the education by bringing some cultures which are prevailing in the society into the classroom, identifying those cultures that are prevailing in the society, especially when those cultures go against social equity and when they go against human rights, for example. I would like to share an example. In my context, for example, and many students know it, one aspect of culture which is prevailing in a part of my country is early marriage.
Oh.
Yes. And I think that it's not only in Madagascar, it's in many developing countries where early marriage is really prevailing. So girls are forced to get married at the age of 14 or 15. They are forced to abandon their schools. They are forced to leave their families and follow their so-called husbands, who most of the time cannot even ensure their daily lives and their future. So this is part of a culture because it is validated by the parents of the girls. It is accepted by the society where they are living. And it's very hard to go to fight against this because the impact is very big. It's an ocean of impact, and not always not good impact. It's most of the time bad impact. So this is part of a culture, but if we think of social equity, we cannot think of social equity in that case because the rights of the girls are ruined. They do not have the rights for better future. And since it is part of culture, it's very hard to go against it and to fight against it. And I think that education, it's there where education, multicultural education comes in to and bring it into the classroom for discussion, for collecting points of views, for educating, and for finding ways to spread the education. So I think that you can do that at every level, not only in the place where it happens, but in other places, so that the education can spread and can have a better impact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I fully agree with you on that point.
Thank you, Mirini. Thank you for sharing your insight and the example. Yeah, these are, and there are a lot of comments coming from students in the chat. So outpouring of appreciation for you, Dr. Kapur. And I just want to thank everyone once again. And if you allow me, I want to close the presentation now. So I'll be sending you the PowerPoints. And once again, on behalf of Penn TESOL East, I want to thank you and everybody. Bye.
Do send me the chat.
Sure.
So that I read the comments. Thank you so much. And good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll see you next month.
Yes.